You can keep Temple beautiful. And they set up a 501c3, it was a Cambridge City.
Yeah. Keep Temple beautiful.
And they, I think they were 19, they won 270,000. 2026, the later one.
Yep, well, I've just been thinking about it, that's why I asked Sam to throw it up, and we can, if y'all are interested, we can go ahead and start getting people appointed, and then we can.
Well, I think maybe a couple of things to think about. You know, funding source. Absolutely.
You have some both of
That'd be good. That
Holy
help.
moly.
But you know, Temple allows people to sign up on their wall to make extra donations.
Yeah. So it's not.
But people sign up. You know, so they've got to do seed plants.
They're about to help us with that. Part of it, that's-
That's good.
Yeah, I think so. $1,
I was,
$1 a citizen. Yeah.
I was surprised, I had jury duty. There used to be obviously around 3 or 4 charities that you could give your
Donate
meal
for
money.
6 steps, expect-
They never brought that up. But I got a check mailed to me at the house. Well, y'all, was United Way ever on that list?
Oh, that. That's
Pretty
awesome.
big. There was, I think, only 4, but they were pretty. That's a good deal.
That's right, if I get off.
And they got, when they had 100 in there when I was there, and their buddy did the day was 80 in there with them. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that I feel like. Let's say the one next to the sea. A lot of money.
So I got 2 warnings.
Even if we can see it over. I need that song. A couple of things. It's not.
Sounds about right.
Yes, that's the stuff we want.
Keep me straight.
Right there.
We're trying.
That's a full-time job. Millions of square foot. Feet.
I need it right, it's just.
Just a little closer. That's done. I know. There's certain things. You just make that's why should have already. Get the road up to speed. I mean, do the Austin thing. Basically, put the brakes on. Fix this.
Oh, you're gonna have one of these jumbo trucks here, right next to me.
1.5 million? It's like one to, yeah, one to three. Depending on what you do.
How big is the second? Been old, like cell tower.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Belton City Council meeting for Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. Today, the Pledge of Allegiance, the United States flag will be led by Mayor Pro Tem David K. Lee. The pledge to the Texas flag will be led by Grants and Special Projects Coordinator Joel Guzman, and the invocation will be given by Council Member Dan Kirkley.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I protect this flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Oh, Lord God, thank you for allowing us to live in a nation, in a state, and in a community where you, Lord God, have blessed us beyond our capacity, our ability to comprehend. the statue, the beauty, the strength of that blessing. And I thank you, Father, for giving us a structure in our local government to be able to come together, agree and disagree as gentlemen and gentle ladies, to speak of those things that concern us, to give us the strength, the wisdom to, Father, make the decisions that honor you. And we worship you, Lord God, and you alone. And Lord Jesus, for giving us the ability to come before you and plead on behalf of those who so desperately need our help, that we do that unconditionally in your love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good. We call this meeting to order. Before we get to public comments, I want to publicly thank Grants Coordinator Joel Guzman. Let's see. There you are. I think everybody's aware that we received a $100,000 grant for the Mount Zion Restoration Project. I know that's taken a long time and a lot of effort, and a lot of folks were involved. And it's an exciting project for the community, and I really do appreciate your hard work on that issue. Item 2 is public comments. Citizens who desire to address the council on any matter may register to do so prior to the meeting and speak during this item. Forms are located on the table outside the south side entry. Please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Also, please understand that while council appreciates hearing your comments, state law, Texas Government Code 551.042 prohibits council from 1, engaging in discussion other than providing a statement of specific factual information or reciting existing city policy, and 2, taking action other than directing staff to place the matter on the future agenda. I know we have several people signed up to speak to specific items, and we have 1 person signed up for regular public comments. Mr. Finley.
Good afternoon, council, fellow citizens. My name is Troy Finley. My address is 702 South Pearl Street here in Belton, Texas. I have a crooked, non-compliant, unsafe structure on my property. Per Sam Listy, city manager, permit 2019-4895 was issued on 1/17/2020 after most of the requirements were met. One of the known requirements that was not met was payment. According to IRC code R108.1, adopted by and included in our city charter code of ordinances, this permit was not valid. I did not authorize, approve, or condone Thomas Allen Gage with Gage Construction to build a structure on my homestead without a valid building permit procured from the city of Belton, Texas. Per our contract, Gage was responsible to acquire all permits. I paid Gage based on the false pretense of having a valid permit. The city of Belton, Texas authorized, approved, and condoned Gage by issuing an invalid permit, facilitating inspections and passing work, all without a valid permit in place. The fact of the matter is, the truth is, the city of Belton, Texas, and Gage Construction Incorporated built a non-compliant, unsafe structure on my homestead without my knowledge or consent. As I was led to believe and told by both Gage Construction and the city of Belton, Texas, all requirements were met, not just most of them. The city of Belton, Texas, as required by code, need to come officially declare this structure unsafe, a structure that they passed as being safe, and then schedule a time to come and get that piece of shit structure off of my homestead. Considering these facts and according to the Belton, Texas Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 1, Division 3, Sections 2 through 30, I accuse Bruce Ebert of impropriety. I also likewise accuse Sam Listy of impropriety. I'm a citizen of Belton, Texas, located in Bell County, Texas, and I hereby request that this council, the city council representing the citizens of Belton, Texas, formally request Bell County District Attorney Henry Garza to request a third-party investigation and put a stop to this bullshit.
Please.
Y'all have
Leave the
tread upon
profanity,
this
sir.
community long enough, and it's time to stop doing that. It's time. I didn't authorize that over there. I didn't approve of that over there. I have come to you guys for 3 freaking years. I've been homeless. lived in a detached garage, an old gas station
15 seconds, sir.
through Thanksgiving and Christmas. All because the city of Belton issued Tommy Gage an invalid building permit. Approved inspections,
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Your 3 minutes is up.
and now I have that structure over there. So if y'all would please come get that off of my homestead. You put it there,
Thank you, Mr. Finley.
not me. You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Items 3 through 10 under this section are considered to be routine by council and may be enacted by one motion. Discussion is desired by the council. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda prior to voting at the request of any council member. Item 3 is to consider the minutes of the January 10th council meeting. Item 4 is to consider a resolution nominating the city's candidate for election to the Board of Directors of the Central Texas Water Supply Corporation. Item 5 is to consider a resolution declaring that the updated January 1, 2023 population estimate for the city of Belton is 25,466. It was 6,000 when I was born here. Item 6, consider an amended employment agreement for the city manager. Item 7, to consider approval of the tax increment reinvestment zone annual report for 2022. Item 8 is to consider resolutions authorizing the submission of grant applications to the Office of the Governor, Criminal Justice Division for the following: a General Victim Assistance Grant, Victims of Crime Act, and in-car camera upgrades. Item 9, to consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Axon for the acquisition of body worn cameras and Fleet 3 vehicle cameras for the police department. And item 10 is to consider authorizing the city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Casper, Patrick and Associates for design services for the East 13th Avenue sidewalk and special project. Anyone wish to pull any of those items?
I don't think it's worth pulling, but I would like to encourage anyone who can look through the TERS annual report. We've seen significant growth in the core area of Belton, and a lot of retail has come with that. And so what the city and the county has done to partner together with our, let's say, ad valorem tax base, which is property taxes, has leveraged to be a significant portion, not only of our property tax base, but also our sales tax. So anyway, we've seen a lot of benefits from that. So it's worth a read if you're interested to see how local government can do things well.
And thank you for saying that. And I appreciate Mayor Pro Tem Lee for chairing that committee. They have done great work. So I hear a motion.
I move we approve agenda items, consent agenda items number 3 through 10.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, those items pass unanimously. Item 11 has been withdrawn, but I will read the item. To hold a public hearing, you consider a zoning change from plan development mixed use to an amended plan development PD to allow for townhouses on approximately 5.07 acres located at 2450 Piazza Drive, located west of Shanklin Road and south of the Auction Barn Road. And that item has been withdrawn for tonight's meeting. Item 12 is to hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agricultural to commercial highway on approximately 7.51 acres located at 3401 South Interstate Highway 35 Service Road, located at the southwest intersection of IH 35 and Mesquite Road. And Ms. Moore.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we get started, there are a number of people here to speak on this item. However, the applicant is unable to attend tonight. He's requested a postponement until some issues with BISD and school parking is resolved, but we actually got some response on that today. So it's up to you on whether or not you would like to proceed with the hearing or postpone it to the next meeting.
So I'd like to proceed with the hearing and let the folks that are here speak to it, and then we will certainly allow the applicant to speak to it at the next meeting, if that would
Yes, sir.
work for everyone.
Thank you. The property in question, it is located on the west side of I-35 and just south of Mesquite Road. Here's a zoomed in look at the property. It's currently developed as a detached single-family residential. The zoning for this property and most of the surrounding property is agricultural. There is some commercials across the street on the east side of Interstate 35. Also, there is one commercial lot also across the street on Mesquite that is a commercial highway. The zoning change request is for a travel center, and that proposal includes a convenience store and 2 anchor restaurants. There's also gasoline sale for both passenger and trucks. The subdivision plat and the development plans are currently under review. The subdivision plat will be presented at a future date, and that will include the perimeter street improvements for Mesquite Mesquite Road. The proposed land use as requested commercial highway would permit the travel center and the restaurants. The site actually exceeds the minimum requirements for the commercial highway zoning district. This area does not have city wastewater services. The applicant plans to install a septic system, which will require the approval of the Bell County Health Department. City water services and fire protections is available at the site. Here is a proposed site plan that the applicant is planning on doing. There is 3 access, one that is currently off of 35 Frontage Road, and then one that's also currently on Mesquite, and a proposed 3rd access off of Mesquite. The setbacks that are proposed meets the requirements. Staff is currently reviewing this, and comments have been sent out to the applicant for corrections. The future land use map identified this area as a commercial corridor. Notices were provided to property owners within 200 feet of the property. We did actually receive no letters. However, during the Planning and Zoning Commission, 3 neighbors spoke in opposition of the zoning change. One expressed concerns about student safety as the intersection is currently used as a bus stop by BISD. Staff has reached out to BISD to see if there's a solution that could be possibly done with the site plan. We plan to incorporate their comments into the subdivision and the site plan review for this project. With that, staff recommends the approval of the zoning change request. The use of the property shall conform to the commercial highway district in all respect. The development of the property shall conform to the type 2 design standards, which include site plan development, landscape design, tree preservation, and a subdivision plat is required, and the proposed sign must comply with the adopted sign code. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Okay. Thank you, Tina. We'll open the public hearing. I know there are several people who wish to speak on that, and I'm trying to go in order of those who signed up. Jane Durham. And again, we ask that you stick to the 3-minute time, and Mr. Pearson here will kind of give you a heads up before you get
Okay.
there. Thank you.
My name is Jane Durham,
And your address for the record, please, ma'am.
298 Mesquite Lane.
Thank you.
I live at the opposite end of where this man wants to put this truck stop. I live at the dead end, which we have people come up there all the time to turn around, either lost or think they can get out to the expo. It's got so bad, we had to put up a fence so they can't do donuts in our driveway. There's only one way in there and there's only one way out. And also when we get rain, that property they're wanting to build on floods. Plus, no one has done anything to the property since purchased. The grass is almost knee high, and if someone threw a cigarette out from the service road, we'd be in trouble. And it also affect our property damage, and we don't want it.
Thank you, Ms. Durham. Rosemary Stamp, please.
My name is Rosemary Stample. 579 Mesquite Road, Belton. I live about midway to Mesquite Road from where the corner. I'm trying not to be. First, I want to bring your attention to that. That's such a small area. Yes, that is 7.5 acres there. But the damage is the corner that comes, the road and then Mesquite Road, and that's where there's just not enough room. It's really even bad just for the little traffic that goes in and out of there now. Our neighbors are the ones that take care of that road from that corner there because it's always breaking down, and they are the ones that comes out and patches in, and it's in a little water there, it just keeps. So where they are talking about entering that property on Mesquite Road is right there. My concern is the people that want to do this, they don't live there. They are not there. They don't see and realize the congestion and the problems that we have getting in and out. First of all, if there is ever, for those big events from the expo, when those people come out of that gate, they come out of that gate flying down south on 35. Anybody coming off the turnaround up there on the corner to try to get over, to get in the right lane so they can make the turn, there is just absolutely no way, because the traffic is moving fast and it's coming down. And even for us to try to get out when that traffic is like that, to come up there and you can't get out because they are not going to slow, to stop, to let us out. That was my one concern. The other one is the school bus stop right there on that corner. The bus had to stop coming down there because there's no room for, for big equipment. As I mentioned last week, we have truckers and they know they cannot be bringing their trucks down there because there is no room. The other thing is this construction, if it were to take place, it is not going to happen in a week or two. So there's going to be construction there impeding our flow to that road. What's going to happen with us trying to go in and out during this period of time for this construction?
15 seconds, ma'am.
And well, how is that going to benefit us? Because that little gas tank and little stores is not going to help us, but it will hurt us. So I'm just hoping that you will at least give that consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Stampley. Thank you for coming. Michelle Crom.
Yes, hi there. My name is Michelle Kroom. I live at 488 Mesquite Road. I just wrote a couple things down. First of all, Monday through Friday, you have a school bus that picks and drops kids off in front of that property. Those kids then walk home. As they said, the road is a dead end. It says when you first enter. However, in the summer months, the trees grow over it and it gets hard to see. And that's just waiting for, accidents to happen when big trucks come down that road and can't turn around. The neighborhood is mostly elder people. Majority of the houses are owned by seniors that have been living there for over 40 years. There isn't any crime on that road. And I think with the truck stop coming there, it would certainly cause crime to rise. Several reasons why putting a truck stop at the end of the road would end in the result of accidents and even fatalities. Not sure if anyone on this panel here is aware of an exit approximately 1,000 feet away from the truck stop that's proposed to be located there. This would cause numerous accidents and, like I said, fatalities, as you have trucks attempting to cross 3 lanes just to get over to be able to turn into that truck stop. It's hard for us to exit in a car because, like I said, traffic is coming on the service road, and just to cross over to get there would be very difficult. And yeah, I guess that would be my main thing. I think building a truck stop there would be crazy. And to have 2 entrances come like on our street would be very difficult for us to just get out in the mornings or get out or get in when we go in. But most of the important thing is that it's very dangerous for kids and for all the accidents unless they would close the Shanklin exit. So I guess that's all I have.
Thank you for taking the time to come. Thank you. Was there anyone else signed up or wish to speak on item 12? Okay, as I said earlier, we will reopen this public hearing at the next meeting, and I will close the public hearing at this time. The applicant was ill and was not able to be here today. I want them to have a chance to speak as well.
Mayor, could we just indicate the continuation of the public hearing would be to the February 14th city council meeting.
February 14th council meeting.
Okay,
You need a motion?
well, we need to, yeah,
Yep.
it's
So
still,
moved.
it's still an item on this
Still an
agenda.
item.
While that's the wish,
Yeah.
I think, so I do want to say this, for those of you who came, since we're likely going to vote to extend this or postpone it to a future meeting, you're welcome to come back. It is a public meeting. You're also welcome to talk again if you feel you need to. So I just wanted to make sure people understood that it's not a one and done.
Right. But your comments will be captured in the minutes of this meeting.
Right.
And we will have those in our packet, just as we have the minutes from the previous meeting now. And if you don't feel comfortable getting up to speak, you can write or email us as well with your comments and concerns.
Is it worth any discussion while they're here and then potentially can get some more answers? I mean,
Yeah, it's an agenda item.
Yeah, it's a,
my question is, is there? I don't, just looking at map, I don't know who owns what behind the end of Mesquite Lane, but it looks like there is telephone pole or some sort of right of way. My question to staff, maybe before next meeting, is there a potential future connection to Southwest Parkway with Mesquite Lane? And then is there any potential for developer to assist or partner in improving Mesquite Road off of the interstate for that access, maybe an area for a bus stop at the second entrance if this were to move forward? That's pretty much just the staff questions I had.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Councilman. Actually, our thoroughfare plan does show Mesquite Road as a collector road, and it does show it extended over to the new Southwest Parkway when that is constructed. Far as improvements required by the developer, they are required to improve Mesquite Road to their property line. So we have requested that they improved not the typical half street because of what they're proposing. We're requiring them to improve the full width of the street. And again, it's an increased width. It's a 60-foot right of way, 36 feet of pavement that is going to be requested from them. And also there are some drainage improvements in that off that street that they are also required to provide.
Yeah, I do recall, I think Mesquite Lane or Drive has been on our bus tour for the last few years, and it's on our list for capital improvements. And the hurdle was the significant cost associated with correctly improving that road because of the drainage issues. I think the amount of water that runs off from the expo through there, through a culvert, I believe is what's there now. And I think we even heard that citizens were kind of repairing the road on their own because it got pretty bad during the winter time. And so I sure hope that we're putting emphasis on the builder to improve that and make that a legitimate street with hopes of having it connect to Parkway or whatever the other road we mentioned was at a later date. I am concerned about traffic flow, trucks, exit off I-35. Mesquite's just been on our radar for a long time, and I sure hope that we're when it comes time to improvement, going to do that the right way.
Is this TxDOT? Have they approved entrances, exits yet?
Not yet. This is the first part, but the site plan has been sent over to TxDOT for comments.
Gotcha.
So any indication yet from TxDOT?
Not yet.
No. So I want to echo several of the things that have been said. I think one is circulation without Mesquite having just even improving to the property line is still going to be a challenge. I spent some time up in Troy, and they've got a travel center or travel, whatever they call that, there with several restaurants. If they didn't have the road right behind it, I don't know that travel center could circulate. It's almost the same size as this. So if we don't have a connection to Southwest Parkway, I don't think that this is real viable because of the I-35 access road is their road. And so, I mean, anybody interested, go to Troy and look at that. The second one is engineering because of all the drainage, engineering that concrete so it doesn't swell and deteriorate over a few years with all the trucks. I think this is a challenge. And also the last comment is I think because of the drainage and because of the size of that, I don't think septic is something we should be approving. I think we put millions of dollars for water and sewer along 35.
to then allow this spot and that spot to do septic instead of, or sewer, yes, yeah, and it's instead of city. I think we need to look at lift station, and we need to find out where that is, because I don't think commercial development should be on, why spend the millions of dollars on city sewer if we're not going to use it? And I know it's on the other side, but we made that decision as an engineering decision to put it on one side versus the other. We've got a couple of cutouts here and there, and maybe it's just the timing of the development to flow down to the lift station. Anyway, those are just general comments that are concerns. So that way the person who owns the property will be prepared for when they come.
I share that same concern with the sewer. I think that alerted me when that was mentioned, the sewer and traffic, of course, the circulation, and primarily with the school bus. And it sounds like that's been discussion, and some sort of resolution can be reached.
Any other comments by council?
On the positive, if this is a domino that allows us to now start really looking at putting some energy and effort to get circulation for these citizens to be able to get in and out easier, and then this is not a negative impact to them, but at least a neutral, if not a positive, maybe that changes some of our development plans.
Or if cost is prohibitive to redo Mesquite and the drainage issue there, it is hard to tell somebody that they can't develop their own property. And we have zoning, we have restrictions, we have guidelines, but something's coming. And so I think proper planning and inflow, outflow, lighting, all those issues we take very, very seriously. But something's going to happen. And, you know, if not this, maybe a strip center or a shopping area or something. So I sure want to get it right and make sure that drainage and traffic flow and lighting and all those issues are taken care of for the developer as well as the citizens as well.
Good point. And as we said earlier, we will have until February 14th to think about it. If you have other comments or concerns, please let us know. At this point in time, I would entertain a motion to table this until the February 14th meeting.
I move that we postpone this public hearing and consideration of the commercial highway 7.51 acres to the February 14th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. Item 13 is to hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agricultural to planned development commercial highway on approximately 6.198 acres located at 5881 West US 190 Service Road at the southeast corner of Interstate 14 and George Wilson Road. Ms. Moore.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. As stated, this property is located just, turn off pointer. This property is located just south of I-14 and on the east side of George Wilson Road. Here is a zoomed in look at the property. It's currently vacant. This property and the surrounding property are zoned agricultural. There is some Office 1 and Commercial Commercial 1 zoning to the east of the property. This area was annexed and brought in as an agricultural zoning. Just want to mention that, as you can see, the lots are subdivided. This was part of a subdivision plat called the Home Estate Subdivision. It contains 74 lots, and they're just proposing the zoning change to impact the first lot 1 through 22. The zoning change is also for another travel center. The proposed project includes, again, a convenience store for gasoline for both passenger and vehicle, and also some restaurants. For the land use, that proposed use would be allowed in a commercial highway district. The area exceeds the minimum requirement. It contains 6 acres for this. The reason for the PD is for a request for screening. Currently, there are some residential properties to the south of this that is a mobile home park. So therefore, the applicant had previously provided no screening, so staff requested screening, also requested a 8-foot tall privacy fence along the southern property line. So that's the reason for the zoning change request to a plan development. For water and sewer, this area is in the Dog Ridge Water Service area. There is no fire protection, so the applicant will be responsible for providing fire protection. There is no wastewater in this area as well, so the applicant will require approval from Bell County Public Health Department for a septic system. Here is a conceptual site plan of what the applicant is proposing to do. So there will be access off of George Wilson Road and also access proposed off of US 190 Interstate 14. There are two proposed that will require TxDOT's review and approval for that. This is the beginning phase, just the conceptual plans. Again, we'll need to go to TxDOT. Here is an example of an existing building that they have that they hope to replicate at this location. The future land use map identified this general area for a commercial corridor, and it is a commercial center. Notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property, and there were no letters received for this zoning application. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting on the 17th and recommended approval for this item. Again, the conditions are the use of the property shall conform to the commercial highway district in all respect. An 8-foot screening wall is required along the southern property line adjacent to Katie Pauline Road. Development shall comply with type area 4 requirements, including site development standards, and that exhibit B is a conceptual site plan that we've seen. Shall also include landscape standard, tree protection standards. A civil site plan and building construction plans are required, and proposed sign must comply with adopted sign codes. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I believe there might be a representative for this, couple of representatives for this case. All right, that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you, Tina. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. I don't have anyone signed up to speak to this item, but if anyone is here that's involved with this or concerned about it, this is a chance to speak. If not, we'll close the public hearing and open it up for council consideration.
So I think key difference here is this one, there's a stop sign at George Wilson, right? So the traffic does stop there. So that's a better location. The only major concern I have, I mean, you guys have addressed it, is again, the septic versus sewer. How far away, because we're looking at doing some sewer on that side, but like what, a mile east or longer? Is it, how far away?
It's probably longer. It's on, it's intersects at FM 1670.
Is there a way, I think it's important, especially when they're going to be pouring this much concrete, a way that they can stub out for future sewer as a requirement, so that way it doesn't disrupt. So that way, if we have, if at the city's expense, we can come in and tie to it. I think it's really important for commercial that they have capability to tie into sewer when it comes. So that way we can say, well, if we would have known at the time, we would have. So that's my big concern is, again, commercial use is as much as we can get it on our sewer.
Do we know if that will have overnight parking? It looks like an awful lot of parking there for.
I don't know.
I would assume, yes.
I assume yes as a truck stop as well.
BJ Little, 301 North 3rd Street, Temple, Texas. I work for Turley Associates. We're here representing any questions concerning the engineering or surveying. Right now, it's just surveying on this, but I do believe so that there is some overnight parking. I think that's what those spots are for, but I could not confirm that 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I do know we had a question about overnight parking in the previous one on one, and I think we took it out as an option. I don't know if that's viable here, but.
I would just caution that was at the recommendation of the applicant, so that parking was taken out. It wasn't us. But again, this is a PD, it advertises a PD, so other conditions of approval may be added, including that. And also the approval of the sewer step out could be added as a condition of approval.
Well, in defense of those that drive trucks and they're on long hauls,
We gotta have something.
they have to have something. And there's definitely a need. I think we just need to make sure that we facilitate in a way that's safe for them as much as anyone else. So I think that we're seeing what, 4, 5, 6 just recently. So we probably need to sharpen our pencil on this. So that way we can, instead of us all popcorn our own opinion, at least we can think from a policy standpoint, what we believe.
And I do worry about overnight parking from a safety standpoint, for driver and residents. And I think about these 20 years down the road, how's this gonna look and what kind of shapes it gonna be in, and well maintained and a safe place for a family to pull in, or, you know, I have concerns about that. And they are rapidly approaching and seem to be on our agenda items more and more often.
I-14 is carrying a tremendous amount of traffic. I know that's why they're coming forward with these ideas, but there are some concerns. Any other questions or comments from the council?
I would just say if we can add those things for future discussion, I would recommend approval of item number 13 as presented.
We have a motion. Second. We have a motion and a second to approve item number 13, the zoning change. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, item 13 passes unanimously. Item 14 is to hold a public hearing to consider a zoning change from agricultural to planned development, a mobile home district on approximately 8.593 acres located at 1705 FM 1670 south of Interstate 14 and on the east side of FM 1670. Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As stated, there's the location of the property. Feels funny always repeating after you. So here's a zoomed in look at the property. It is currently developed as a mobile home park. This is more of a cleanup item to get it from a legal non-conforming to a conforming use. This area was annexed into the city in 2004 and assigned the agricultural zoning district. Most of the other surrounding areas was also annexed at that same time and also assigned the agricultural zoning. There's been some recent zoning changes on Brenda Lane for the single family 3 and mobile home lots that you see on that site on the plan. The applicant is the property owner who recently purchased this property. Again, property is currently a legal non-conforming use. The applicant is bringing this forward to bring this property into compliance. There's currently 36 manufactured homes on this park. It was originally approved for 38 units. The proposed plan development would allow the current use as well as set a maximum density of 38 units. The proposed use would allow for the park. However, current development standards would include the mobile home park ordinance, which is City Code of Ordinance, Chapter 12. The area exceeds the minimum requirement for the mobile home district. However, that requires a maximum density of 20 units per acre. The site currently has 3 units per acre, and the PD again will set that density to 38. Water and wastewater is currently not available at the site. Bell County records show that this facility was approved back in the 1970s for a maximum of 38 units. The applicant, if he desired to upgrade the park, add homes to the park, he will need to contact Bell County to bring that sewer system up to standard. Also, just want to point out that the city does have a project in this area to bring water and wastewater in this area. So that's a future possibility that the applicant could connect. The lines will be across the street off of FM 1670. So he would need to bore into the road to be able to connect to that. Water service, again, domestic water service is available from Dogridge. Fire protection is currently not available. If future homes are allowed, an upgrade or some kind of fire protection will be required. Code enforcement and building inspector staff have been working to get this property into compliance. This is part of the annual mobile home permit parks permits. So they've been working on that. This does not alleviate the applicant from having to comply with all those standards for minimum safety. This again is a positive step that he is working with the city to bring that area to code. The future land use map identified this general area as a lifestyle center, and this again is an existing use. Notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet, and we received 1 letter of opposition. think was a little confusing. Applicant probably may have been miscommunicated with what was going on. With that, staff is actually, this was heard at the planning and zoning meeting, and they recommended approval of the zoning change. Again, this will allow for the mobile home zoning district and a maximum density of 38 units. The park must comply with all the standards in the mobile home parks ordinance. Bell County Health Department approval for on-site sewage facilities required for the replacement of additional mobile homes on the lot. Prior to the placement of new homes, a new subdivision plat, site plan, and building permits will be required. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And the owner, Jake Brannigan, is here. Sorry, didn't see you. Should you have any questions for him?
Thank you, Ms. Moore. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. I have one person signed up to speak, but that doesn't mean others might not want to chime in. Mr. Brannigan? Again, please state your name and address for the record, please.
Jake Brannigan, 1705 FM 1670. I purchased this mobile home park back last summer, and I plan on to continue operating it as a mobile home park and to supply much needed affordable housing here in Belton and to continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brannigan. Anyone else? If not, I'll close the public hearing and open it up for council deliberation.
So I think everything I saw were good positive steps to bring that area into compliance based on the satellite view or airplane view, whoever took that picture. Looked like there were a couple of things in a couple of backyards. So the question is on compliance and getting new building permits for new ones. Is there a requirement to be in compliance before anything can be added? I mean, because I assume if it's a park, I don't know if they lease the space or if they own the buildings and then lease the buildings. I don't know the arrangement. So my concern is that we have 8 things that need to be fixed, but we're allowing new things to continue to go when we're not fixing the 8 things that need to be fixed. And again,
You're correct. Some of the comments include the homes that are privately owned by the person residing there. They lease the space to the property owners. Our focus is to bring everything up into compliance, including the park, the driveway that's currently there. Those are the stuff that I think the applicant would be focused on, and also to bring his tenants into compliance with the standards as well.
so there's so I assume we're taking this as not individual lots, but as one lot.
Correct.
So
They will have to get approval from Bell County Department of Health before they can relocate those 2 additional trailers there.
Right.
So that is a requirement.
It will be an ongoing thing because it's an annual report. That's why I'm going. There might be violations that we might not catch, but it's an ongoing annual inspection that's required.
I move we approve the agenda item number 14 is presented.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve agenda item number 14. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the item passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brannigan, and good luck on your project. Item 15 is to hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from single family to residential to 2-family on 0.921 acres located at 507 Ellis Avenue, located in the Sally J. White addition, Block 4, Lot 1. Ms. Moore.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. This property is located just north of the railroad tracks and off of Ellis Road. And it's also west of Waco Road. Here's a zoomed in look at the property. It's currently developed with a single family home, detached home. The surrounding zoning for this is mostly single family 2. There are some single family 3 in the area, planned development, single family 2, and also some multi-family south of the railroad track and also closer to Waco Road. The applicant submitted this request to allow for a zoning change to allow for duplex development. The applicant plans to demolish the existing home and subdivide the property into 4 lots for duplex. This will include 4 duplexes for a total of 8 units. The proposed use would allow for duplexes and single-family detached dwelling. The lot exceeds the minimum requirements for a two-family zoning district. This property is located within an existing developed neighborhood that all consist of detached single-family home and that are zoned single-family 2 or single-family 3. The neighborhood is stable, is not in transition. The single-family 2 zoning change that would allow for a duplex is considered a spot zoning that is not compatible with the surrounding uses. A spot zoning is the process of singling out a small lot or classification that is significantly different from that of the surrounding property for the benefit of the owner of the property and possible deterrent of the surrounding owners. While this is not incompatible to the land use, it's incompatible to the neighborhood character. A compatible alternative would be a single family 3 or building to the current single family 2 area requirements. The feature land use map again identified this area as general residential, which does allow for 2-family. Notices were provided to property owners within 200 feet. One letter of opposition was received. Concern was the surrounding uses is not compatible and concern for noise and traffic. The Planning and Zoning Commission actually heard this at their meeting and recommended approval for the change of use to single family, to 2-family instead of single family 2. With that, the applicant is here. Should you have any questions for him, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, at this time, we'll open up the public hearing on item number 15. And first person on my list is Terry Covington. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Sorry, I sound like a frog. I would like to offer my endorsement to the project that Brandon Wiley is proposing for the almost 1 acre lot at 507 East Tellis.
Terry, would you please state your address
sorry.
for the record? I'm sorry.
Terry Covington, 105 Drovers Run.
Thank you.
I've represented Brandon Watley in the sale of new homes since 2016. He has consistently built quality homes. He has a large following and an incredible reputation with clients, agents, and fellow builders. He has led the field with design and curb appeal. In a mixed area of town with many historical homes, the proposed style of duplex he intends to build will be an excellent fit. Although he is requesting 2-family zoning, the city has already put in place requirements for parking, which would avoid potential problems a duplex might cause. This project will certainly improve the area over the rundown home currently on site, and I hope you will vote to move the project forward.
Thank you, Ms. Covington. The next person, Dolores Diskin. Again, if you'll state your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Yes, my name's Dolores Diskin, at 1104 North Blair. I do not live at the property. My father-in-law owns it, and it's currently has a tenant in there. Of the 19 homes that are in that general area, 12 of them are homesteaded, and I'm sure if they knew they could be here, they would. My protest on this is that duplexes are not very friendly to most neighborhoods. The neighborhood was not designed with the intent of having multifamily units. It's just very difficult to get down the roads as it is. And if you've got multifamily units with lots of vehicles, it causes a big problem with parking. The proposed lots are not large enough to provide adequate parking on the property when you have a duplex. The current roads are only 20 foot wide. And when you've got someone who's got 3 people that are drivers in a duplex, that means 6 cars at maximum or minimum per duplex. And if you have to park somebody in the street, getting your vehicles, your emergency vehicles down the road is going to cause a major issue. And if they happen to rent to any college students, that's going to be worse, because they had their friends over and their friends over and their friends over. It's just going to cause a major problem for the homeowners, the homesteaders in that neighborhood. The duplexes will also decrease the property value of the current homes in the neighborhood. I mean, may not be the best homes in the neighborhood. I mean, the best homes in the city, but they're important to us. And we want them to retain their value and not be devalued by having duplexes put into the neighborhood. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Brandon Watley.
Brandon Watley, 4394 Cedar Creek Road, Temple. I am the applicant and just wanted to introduce myself and let you know that I'm here for questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watley. Anyone else wish to speak during the public hearing? If not, we'll close the public hearing and open it up for council consideration.
Tina, do you have the picture of the development that you can put up?
We will look at that right now. Right now, what?
'Cause it
Sorry, my
wasn't- I
screen
don't
is a
think it was
little
in the
different from
presentation.
yours. Just 1 second.
It's on the. on the computer.
Yeah, I have it. I just would like everyone to see it.
I guess while we're requesting documents, you don't happen to have a layout by chance of where the duplexes will sit and the parking spaces yet?
Not yet. This is not a planned development. I apologize.
Okay.
You know, it appears as though, from my information, that lot 2, 3, and 4 are similar in size as those on the other side of Blair, maybe not quite as deep. I did notice that some of those houses on Blair do have some items in their backyard or some parking in the back for some of them. I was curious how lots 2, 3, and 4 will have parking and
There we go.
access.
There we go.
Has that been reviewed or discussed or? Sure, I'm a stickler about parking, especially for multifamily and where those vehicles are gonna be.
I was gonna just make a comment about the requirements for parking. The current code is 2 covered parking and 2 uncovered parking. So there will be 4 parking spaces required per duplex.
Per duplex, right?
Per duplex.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the parking, this is a proposal on the number of lots, and we wanted to get it through zoning before we develop the plan further. But obviously, we're planning to meet the design requirements.
And, you know, the image up there looks really nice. And I guess requirement and actual intent or follow through, or maybe a little, and I'm just talking to you honestly. We see that we require the parking places, but then the garage is filled up and you maybe have a kid there and his parents in the driveway. And so they end up parking 2 or 3 vehicles on the street, and that's frustrating. Then I go by it just about every day. And so if there's any design or implementation or thought you could put into getting those people off the street, it sure would be appreciated.
We'd be
I
happy to
think
take
it makes a
those.
huge difference to the established neighborhood, and would help that fit in a lot better.
Our intention is to make it as attractive as possible for the residents who want to live in that space as well as the neighborhoods. We would take all of those things into consideration as we're meeting the standards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And an acre lot's big.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Tina, you said it exceeds our requirement on space per.
Correct. 2-family requires 7,200 square feet per lot, and the lots that were proposed look to be the adequate size.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a zoning, the
Right.
actual plating will come, or plan development, whatever. I guess this is it planned? No.
No, this is not.
This is- Okay, just straight up.
Zoning.
Yeah, again, we've all talked about this. The only way and there's a lot of podcasts and books on this, cities are facing it. The only way for us to really grow responsibly is infill. And this is one of those things. The challenge with infill is you put more people. Well, the benefit is this: more people on the same water and sewer line, so it's not an expense. same number of minutes from the fire station or the police, which is good. The close to parks and sidewalks, so you're not extending. The challenge is always going to be parking and streets. I'm a big advocate of upzoning, allowing things to come in that actually elevate. And I think this is one that does. I do agree that there's some challenges in parking, but I think that's the next step. And I've not met Mr. Watley personally, but he's done some developments at our family place, and it's improved the neighborhood. So he's been a guy who has improved the neighborhood as he goes. So
The couple of comments I would just add is I certainly have compassion for change. Any change in a neighborhood is really challenging. So I certainly want to take that into consideration. But for me, I think immediately I really thought back to the presentation we received on our lack of affordable housing and need for creative zoning and some things so that we could begin to even meet our need. And I think this is one of those opportunities to do that with a quality, beautiful project that I think would be very fitting for the neighborhood. Drove by the property several times, actually, because I would think about it as something else I would like to look at a little differently. So I'm supportive of it, knowing that it's hard and change is difficult.
And I think everyone's pointed out the parking is a huge issue. We've had some situations in the city where we did not think far enough in the future about the need for additional parking places. And I think that council is going to be very wary of doing anything that might get us back in that same situation. But looking at the quality of past developments, and I've driven around that area multiple times too. I guess we've all been over in y'all's neighborhood lately, looking at that spot. It looks to me that it would improve the neighborhood, not diminish the neighborhood. And as Stephanie just said, we definitely have a need for young couples, young families, singles, whatever, to live close into the city. And it does redevelop an area that near the railroad tracks that needs some upgrading in some of those areas.
and that's what's at least the picture, and we're not approving pictures now, but it makes it feel like a single family home. It doesn't look or feel like a duplex, which allows for a lot more ownership of the property. So.
Right. And we're not into the design stage, but we can certainly address a lot of those issues at that point in time. Anyone else wish to speak to the issue?
I move we approve agenda item 15 is presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve agenda item 15. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, item 15 passes unanimously. And we look forward to working with you on, addressing those parking issues, and we want the neighborhood to look better than what it does now. So I appreciate the folks that are here, and I understand, as Stephanie said, change is hard, but I think we have a opportunity to make a positive change, and that's what we all want. Item 16, consider a plat of Rodriguez Estates Edition comprising 4.36 acres located at 1971 FM 1670. Ms. Moore, one more chance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, this is a final plat approval. Normally this will be looked at as administrative. However, there's no fire protection in this area. So that is why it's coming before you tonight. This is in the city limits, not in the ETJ. So therefore, that requires council approval. This area, as you can see from the zoning map, is all agricultural. Very close to where we just rezoned the mobile home park. Here is a look at the lot. It is currently undeveloped. What's being proposed is a one block, one lot for single family detached home residential development. The lot is over 4.6 acres. With that, again, all of the water concerns has already been mentioned. There is no hydrants in this area. This is in the Dog Ridge CCN area, and therefore approval from council is required. For sewer, there is currently no wastewater in this area, so A septic system is proposed, which will require their approval from Bell County Health Department. Access, there is a currently 20-foot wide access easement from FM 1670 that will provide access. For Street 6, FM 1670 is classified as a minor arterial roadway. And it requires 100 feet of right of way. The existing right of way is currently 136. So no dedication is required. Also, this is a TxDOT maintained roadway, so no perimeter street improvement is required. Drainage has been reviewed by staff. Sidewalk is currently not required. Again, TxDOT maintained, TxDOT would, and it's a single family dwelling. Parkland is waived for this one lot. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this item at their meeting and recommended approval of the final plat and approval of the variance for the requirements. There were outstanding comments, but the applicant has resubmitted and those comments have been addressed. So that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, and I don't see the applicants in the audience.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moore. And this is not scheduled for a public hearing. Does anyone on the council have questions or concerns for Ms. Moore?
Just a flag lot, is that being purchased, peeled off of somebody else's, or was that already a flag lot? So that the drive, is that? I'm just curious because it had that really long and for fire protection.
Correct. The flag lot is currently existing. When it was annexed, I looked at this. It was all one lot, but the previous owner separated it into, sorry,
Okay.
let me get the map up.
And it's sufficient for a fire truck to get there?
It is, the fire department has reviewed this and did not have any comments. There was this, oh, sorry, keep taking out the laser because I see it on the screen. There was another lot that was subdivided off of this larger tract. So that easement is again a utility easement that allows access for that other property owners for access as well. So 20 feet is wide enough, and then there's adequate room for the fire truck to do a turnaround in this area.
But the material that is put on that, is that, I mean, because others that we've done. It's okay, it's sufficient. On a nice rainy day when I don't know, a nice cold rainy day, they can get down there and.
I don't know if that has been looked
Oh,
at because
if
it's.
I mean, if it's in the city limits and we giving them a variance for the water, but then we don't have a way to go there. I think we need to at least.
Get a truck in there.
Yeah, we need to be able to get a truck in there because we've had some requirements to actually improve so trucks could get into place. And the reason I say is because we had an issue at Sparta, a small development on Sparta back in 80s or 90s, where they had to pump out of a somebody's swimming pool.
Yeah.
So, and it's the structure was gone.
Code would require that access to give us within 150 foot of the structure. So whenever they decide where that structure would be, we'd go and address our.
So before you get a
access.
building permit, that would have to be done.
That would have to be
Okay.
addressed, correct.
All right, that was my concern.
Thank you, Chief Fontenot, and it's good to see you back here.
Yes.
Very good.
Had to get you up and moving. Well, with that, I'll make a motion that we adopt the final plat for the Rodriguez Estates 4.36 acres.
Second. We have a motion and a second to adopt that final plat. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. There being no further business, we are adjourned.
Well done. Yeah, not bad. You and me. Oh, What's the term?